do anything you want. I ain't got no problem with it. I promise you that shit.
Listen to the words. Garbage, a joke, clown acts, pisses me off. No, come find me. No, come find me. Listen to the words. Come find me. Garbage, a joke, clown acts, pisses me off.
I ain't a hard guy to find. I promise you that shit.
Listen to the words. Garbage, a joke, clown acts, pisses me off. What is up, ladies and gentlemen? It is Thursday afternoon, high noon over here on patreon.com/Brooks Austin. If you're catching us on YouTube, you're catching us on a rewatch, and you're only going to get a portion of today's show. The premise of today's show, we're going to give you a little bit of combine predictions. Okay, look, I'm one of these guys as a scout. I have this weird knack of being able to guess heights and weights like down to the quarter inch, okay, and weights down to like within 5 pounds of a plus and minus. It's like one of my party tricks. Some people can do cool things with beer bottles. Some people can do cool things on beer pong tables. I can guess heights and weights, but only of men, not of women, okay? It's a keynote my mother would be proud of me mentioning. But no, we're going to give a little bit of NFL Combine predictions. This is my way of just trying to, hit the nail on the head, mostly with 40 times. And all of that evaluation comes mostly off of film. How fast are you on film kind of tells me gives me an indication of how fast you are going to run in a 40. And the variance lies within guys that I need to go back and watch, right? A prime example of this is CJ Smith. I knew CJ Smith was extremely fast because I knew his track times. So when he came in and ran 22 miles an hour this week at the University of Georgia, I was not shocked. However, if you just watch the kid's tape, you wouldn't say 22 miles an hour. You would say that guy's really fast. He's twitchy, but not like world-class speed. And then you check the actual track times and things. There's a variance, right? There's a variance between his on-field speed and his on-track speed or on-40 speed. That's the things we're going to try to kind of find in advance before these guys run this week in Indianapolis. Wide receiver set to go today in Indianapolis on Thursday evening starting at 4 o'clock. So if you catch us afterwards, you're going to find out how right or wrong I was with George Pickens. He will run today. Also had some interesting things to say in the media yesterday up there in Indianapolis. Said that he was projecting he'd run in the 4.443s. Not as fast as I'm thinking, or not a little bit faster than I think he's going to run, and we'll tell you that today. But as well, over on Patreon, we're going to give you a Devonte Wyatt film study. I've been waiting to do this one. We were going to do it Tuesday. News came out about Stacey Searles being hired, so we did an offensive line specific film study. Watch that stuff out there at UNC. Tried to figure out what was going on. How in the world do you allow 49 sacks in one singular season and then get hired at Georgia? We answered most of those questions Tuesday over on patreon.com/Brooks Austin. So if you want to check any of that content out, head over there. Look, if you're one of our beloved subscribers over on YouTube and you're here because you like MBR, but mainly because you love our film studies, guys, they're over on Patreon this year, and we are loading it up, okay? 3 or 4 hours a week of film study over there if you want to catch it. You don't have to catch it all, okay? This ain't Pokemon. You don't have to catch them all, but they are available for your rewatch over there on patreon.com. I have to give a beloved shout out to our sponsor, Graham Co. Look, it's important to know your source in anything in life, particularly when it comes to Delta 8 and hemp products. Graham Co has extremely clean and efficient products over there at thegrahamco.com. The link is in the bio. And if you use promo code Brooks25 today, you will save 25% off on all your purchases over there. Again, man, the reason they're our only sponsor, and it is by design, okay? I don't love to bring you a bunch of ad reads, but this is a sponsor that I want you guys to throw your full, insane support behind, okay? Thegrahamco.com, promo code Brooks25 will save you 25%. Let's talk about this NFL Combine, man. Let's get into some of these predictions. Off the top, look, we're going to go in order of the way that they're running, so when you clip these things and I turn out to hit the nail right on the head and we can come back and say, damn, Brooks really knows his stuff, we're going to do them in order because they're going to happen in this order, okay? Let's start with George Pickens. Look, The tape is extremely fascinating for a variety of reasons. Primarily, he creates space without being a super twitchy athlete, okay? The most twitch-worthy play I've ever seen from George Pickens was a slant touchdown he took for about 45 yards against Missouri in 2020, okay? Two-step slant, got the DB on his back, broke the DB's tackle, took it to the crib for about a 45-yard after-catch run. That's about as twitchy as it gets, okay? This is not an Arian Smith type of runner. This isn't even really a Marcus Rosemi Jack Saint type of runner. The reason George Pickens is as great as he is because of length, natural, God-given hands, some of the most natural hands you'll ever see, and the ability to track the ball in the air, and his body awareness, his ability to control his body in and around the sideline, in and around the end zone. Those are the things that make this a first-round caliber football player along with the tape. That being said, I'm projecting, as I drop my notes, a 4.58 from George Pickens this week. If you're listening to us on podcast, you're like, wow, he really held out for a dramatic pause there. No, I dropped my notes. All right. So a 4.58 is what I'm calling out for our guy, George Pickens. Now, on to our next on our list, which is James Cook, okay? I'm projecting James Cook runs a 4.47 this week at the Combine, okay? Now, you watch him on tape, this is a dude that's like smooth speed, okay? Like not super twitchy, doesn't look super twitchy, but neither did his brother. And I'm pretty sure his brother rolled out 4.4. These are guys that look like they're not giving a ton of effort. They look like they're running at 85% speed, but in reality, they're giving everything they got. They're just so smooth and fluid that it looks as if they're not moving that fast until you see them start running away from defenders. James Cook did that on a multitude of occasions throughout his college career. I'm expecting of the backs, obviously, him to run extremely fast or fast enough, considering he's going to weigh in at, I would imagine, 208 pounds, 209 pounds, 204 in that type of range. So we'll see. If he runs in 4.47, catches the ball really well out of the backfield, you're going to see him really shoot up draft rankings as that guy that NFL teams think might be Alvin Kamara. Okay? You're going to get a lot of those types of comps, man. It's the hot, sexy comp for everyone to make for these backs that aren't really first down primary backs, but aren't really only running backs, can do a whole bunch of stuff out of the backfield. Those types of guys, they will get a bunch of Alvin Kamara comps, okay? And the white ones will get Christian McCaffrey comps, okay? So pay attention to that one as the draft process begins and continues throughout this spring. The next one I got for you is Zamir White. I'm projecting like around a 4.58. Okay, around a 4.58 in the 40, not a burner. You can show me the clip of him running away from Florida's defense. I can also show you the clip of Todd Grantham and the rest of his defense not even knowing what the hell was going on until he's about at midfield. So, yeah, he's got some top end speed. He's got enough to carry, enough to be a top end guy, enough to take it, 75 yards on an SEC field. But he didn't necessarily pull away from guys. However, I am projecting about a 25 rep max on that 225 rep on the bench press if he indeed benches, which this morning they make guys announce if they're bench pressing, why they're not bench pressing, things like that. I think they had about 30 wide receivers say that they're not bench pressing. So, and I've got that on the live screen over here, and it's just an empty bench. It has been since 10 o'clock when they were supposed to start this thing. So I don't know if he'll do it, but if he does, I'm projecting somewhere around 25 reps. Now, let's talk about these big fellas. I know you're not interested in what they run in the 40, but I can tell you right now, I think Jamari Sawyer's a 5.15 guy. Okay, Andrew Thomas last year was a 5.22, which is about the range I expect Justin Schaefer to come in. The most important thing for these two guys is arm length. Okay, I know Jamari's got really long arms. Okay, I don't necessarily believe the same to be said about Justin Schaefer. Justin Schaefer is a guy this week at the Combine that's going to have to interview really well. I don't know if he's going to test well. The tape doesn't tell me he's going to test extremely well, okay? But the tape says he's physical, he's violent, he's all those things you want in a run-dominant offensive guard. We'll see about the rest of the stuff in terms of testing measurables. Now, the money guys, okay, which is all the defensive players. Let's talk about these dudes, okay? Jordan Davis is going to roll, folks. Jordan Davis is going to go sub 5 in the 40 at 300. And I'm projecting him 332 pounds. He'll be in that range. I think he played at like 350, by the way. He'll weigh in around that range of 332 to 337, I would imagine, at about 6'5 3/4. Okay. That's a massive human being. And I'm projecting him to run 4.94 in the 40. If you guys will remember last year at Georgia's Pro Day, you had an unofficial hand time on Ben Cleveland at 4.81, and I think it came in at 4.97. I'm projecting right around that area for Jordan Davis, which is astronomical for a man his size. Speaking of freaky stuff, let's talk about Devonte Wyatt. I was talking to a source yesterday, and I told this to Patreon this morning. This is going to be a right at 6'3", right at 305, right at 4.8 flat in the 40 on Devonte Wyatt. The most freaky thing, he might have the best 5'10" of any defensive tackle in this draft. Okay, that's the other thing I would watch. I believe they call it the 20-yard shuttle on NFL.com. When the results start rolling in, watch how far up that list Devonte Wyatt is for defensive tackles, not the edge rushers, just defensive tackles. Devonte Wyatt has elite lateral quickness. We'll show you that today on the film study for the guys and gals over there on Patreon. Now, Trayvon Walker, we got a couple more of these guys, just defensive guys left. Trayvon Walker is a guy that this is his event, okay? This should be him. He is All-American shorts and T-shirts, okay? He's All-American on the field just without the box scores, and he'll be drafted as such come April. But this is a dude that I think is going to turn in something sub 4.7 in the 40 at 6'5", 273 pounds, okay? This is a freaky dude, folks. This is a freaky guy, and I think he's going to, quote-unquote, win the combine this week with the things that he's going to do on the field in Indianapolis. Up next is Channing Tindall. Look, I know the film says he's blazing fast. The film says, my God, this dude might run 4.38 at the combine at 225 pounds. He plays that fast. I thought he was going to run in or turn in like a 4.42. I started asking around, particularly last offseason, and, you know, because I saw some guys going to the draft, and I was watching film. I was like, damn, Channing's like a 4.41 guy. And I asked, and they were like, I don't know. This was right after they had kind of had their mock pro day for the the next year's class, basically. And I think it's going to be around a 4.51, which is still really fast. And if he has a great start, or if he's been testing it and training it really well, maybe he goes 4.47. It's ancillary for me. The more important thing with Channing, and the thing that's going to get him drafted exceptionally high, is the tape, first of all. But most importantly, he's about 6'2 1/4, and I think he's going to have like 33-inch plus arms. He's another really long, lengthy guy out here, the opposite of me. If he were doing this, he'd be wall to wall out here on the YouTube channel. Quay Walker, I'm thinking 6'4", 235 measurements. I mean, freaky length type stuff. And I'm projecting somewhere around 4.57, 4.58 in the 40. Okay. On tape, another guy, extremely fast. But when we're talking about a dude at 6'4" that's going to have to get in a sprinter stance and burst out, I think that hurts his 10-yard split. Check those as well on all of these guys. Nakobe Dean, our next guy, is going to blow the 10-yard split out of the water, as will Channing Tindall. Quay Walker's will be slower than theirs. I promise you, just based off the length, okay? Now, our last linebacker we got to talk about is Nakobe Dean. He is a first-round draft pick. In my opinion, he shouldn't run the 40. He shouldn't. It's only going to give them one more question mark, because he is not a 4.48 guy. He's not. I don't think so. He is quicker than he is fast, and I think he's about a 4.57 guy, 4.58. I really do. On tape, I see the short area burst, the explosivity within a telephone booth, all that good stuff that I want my linebackers to be. I don't see, what was it, Deion Jones a couple years ago ran 4.46 or whatever it was. All the linebackers from LSU, DeAndre Clark or Damone Clark will probably run in the 4.4s this week. I don't think Nakobe Dean is a 4.4 guy. That's okay. I don't evaluate him as a top-end speed guy. I don't care. I evaluate him as a guy that can play in space because of his lateral quickness, because of his short area burst, because of all those things. And 4.6 gets you by in the league. It will. 4.58 will get you by in the league. However, it's going to knock him down, okay? The NFL has this conception, albeit misconception, that you have to be 6'3", and you have to run 4.4 or sub 4.5 at the inside linebacker position to warrant a top 20, top 25 first-round caliber pick. I don't necessarily believe that to be the case because I've watched the tape, okay? And so has the NFL, by the way. Daniel Jeremiah, who is my guy, if we're doing my guys, Daniel Jeremiah is certainly one of mine. He's all over Nakobe because of the instinctual capabilities that he has. None of us are all over him because of the testing measurables and what he's going to do in Indianapolis outside of interview, if that makes sense. All right, our last guy we're going to talk about today, last two guys, is Lewis Cine. I'm predicting Lewis Cine to be the fastest of all the Georgia players in attendance this week. I do think he goes sub 4.4. This was a guy that was pretty much recruited based off of his height, weight, and speed out of high school, okay? He was as highly touted out of the northeastern area. I know he played his high school football in Texas, or at least finished. Okay, in that northeastern Mass area, he was known for his speed and length, height, weight, speed. Okay, went out to Texas, only confirmed that, ended up at Georgia. And if you watch him on tape, it's all speed. Okay, it's all traits, it's all measurables, not a whole lot of instincts. Clearly a guy that's got to play a bunch more to get these natural, hey, that guy's moving first. He's almost always last to move, first to arrive. That tells me the dude can fly, okay? I'm projecting a 4.38. Now, the guy I'm projecting going to run a lot slower than a lot of maybe NFL scouts are evaluating. You can call it inside information. I'm calling it watch the tape on the kid. De'Aaron Kendrick's gotten torched, okay, in terms of gotten people behind him, and they stayed behind him a whole lot for a guy that's slotted as a top 60 pick. Go back and watch him against Clemson. Go back, or with Clemson, go back and watch him this year at Georgia. If he was ever beat, it was vertically. That tells me there's some top-end limitations when it comes to the speed department. 4.58, De'Aaron Kendrick. All right. Hope you guys enjoyed that. I enjoyed doing those things. I'm really going to enjoy to see how right or wrong that I am, and we'll, of course, call it back like we always do over here on the YouTube channel. Now, for you folks over on YouTube, you got a lot more content than you probably originally anticipated. The rest of it will be over on Patreon. One more shouts to the sponsor, Gramco.com. Get that Wake and Bake coffee, man. I'm telling you, okay? Let's get the close shot on this. This is some good imaging right here. Can we get some of that? Yeah, a little Wake and Bake coffee for you with the Gramco logo on that backside. I'm telling you, it's some good coffee, folks. You should go holler at it. Gramco.com. Link in the bio. All right, YouTube, you're out of here. We're going to hang out with the Patreon audience for about another 45 minutes. Appreciate you guys.